All right, good evening, everyone. Hopefully this is working. Looks like it is. Welcome to On the Pole for another race this Monday evening. We get set here for warm-up, see who comes out. We got about 10 cars here, maybe 11 for the GT3 series. You see Matt Mars there in the 34 mellow yellow. Mark Nelson out here in the 86. Down here off into the next corner. See if we can get a map up here so we can kind of see what in the world's going on here. Nelson on his outlap. Nielsen on his outlap. Matthews on an outlap. We only got 5 minutes to get a last-minute touch in here of the track before the race starts. We got Graham Connolly in the McLaren here tonight. We got half a field of McLarens tonight. And Brassington, Scott, Mars, Connolly, and Peters all driving the McLaren tonight. For a series that has quite a few cars to choose from, we only have a few of them represented here. We do have a Ford and we have a Corvette, along with a Porsche and Mercedes and a BMW. I do not see the Ferrari. Nor do I see the Acura. Mr. Jody down here in that 56 machine. He heads down that straightaway. And comes up here to the first couple turns. Graham Connolly out there in that number 71 tonight. Graham Connolly trying to get that McLaren dialed in. Matt Mars also trying to get the McLaren dialed in. Nielsen out of Lewiston, Idaho. Ron Matthews in the 654. Please let me know if you are watching. Let us know if you can hear us. Okay, it looks like everything's working. I may have finally got rid of those dang gremlins. Be glad to know if I did, for sure. Yeah, they head off here, out of the corner, down here through. Coming up here to our right-hand bend. As he had 654 going to the inside. Mr. Jody ends up coming there. Ron Matthews and Jody Nielsen out there are the ones that actually got a lap time down. Starting grid looks like it is Mark Nelson out there in front on pole with Chase Matsko second. Brian Scott there in third. Robert Milbrad fourth. Jody Nielsen there in fifth. Ron Matthews there sixth. Ryan Peters seventh. Matt Mars eighth. Graham Connolly ninth. And Jay Davis in 10th with Dan Brasington there in 11th. Now they head on back down through off of the start-finish line. They're going to start off. Chase Matsko and that Ford out there. Got himself painted up like he did the other night with a kind of a nod to the P-51 Mustang, which means, oh no, Mars is running mellow yellow. Thought maybe Mars would run the other one like they did on the Xfinity last night. Still kind of like, which car is that? Is that the... It's a 5 of Ryan Peters that has that kind of cool looking paint scheme to it. Always a lot of good looking wraps, or liveries as some would call them, here in GT3s, or any race for that matter. A lot of skilled painters out there, graphic artists. I work down here in the corner, into the first section. And everybody trying to mind their own way, trying to get on through without too much incident. Looks like they do. As there you see, Peters dropping it down through. Looking up there at Ron Matthews. Coming up there through the S's. Now here coming off. Down here to the left-hand corner, you got the 45 there. Now you're looking at the 56 of Jody Nielsen. Robert Milbrath, Ron Matthews around there as well. Here they come down through a long straight. Hey, driver head into the next tight corner here. Pick up a lot of speed in them straights, and you got to drop the speed to navigate these corners. Can definitely be a challenge. Now you're looking there at Jody Nielsen out of Lewiston, Idaho. Mark Nelson out of Pierre, South Dakota. As they race on down through the back side of the, or front side of the track here, heading towards the start-finish line. Connolly and Peters having issues back here, going off track a little bit. And Connolly might have a slowdown. There you go. Now it disappeared. I don't know if Connolly actually ended up with it off track, but he definitely ended up with a slowdown. Head on back off here through the east corner. Very tight racetrack for these drivers to try to navigate here tonight. 45 minutes to distance. Coming up here to 2.5 completed. As they're working on lap number 2 in the FMA Freedom Motorsport Alliance Road Series here for Regal Wrapz and Designs. You'll notice we don't run by laps, we run by minutes. That's the way most road courses run. They come down here out of the back hairpin. Head on down through here. Here we go. Brian Scott, Chase Matsko, Robert Milbrath, their third. Jody Nilsson, their fourth. Ron Matthews, their fifth. Head on down here off the corner. Down here into the hairpin. Brian Scott with the lead over Chase Matsko at the moment. Milbrath with a slowdown. Peters with a slowdown. Hey, watch the yellow machine of Matt Mars out of Louisville, Tennessee. Louisville, Tennessee is where Matt Mars is from. Working down here off into the next corner before heading in. We see somebody that looked like they had a Ryan Milbrath black flag. So Milbrath with a black flag. I think he caught a slowdown and didn't honor it. So now he's going to have to come down pit road. So we're going to find out from these drivers whenever the race is over where that slowdown area was. It seemed to catch so many here tonight. And see Milbrath working his way through. He's going to have to work down here. Make sure he takes to the pits before he gets disqualified. Brian Scott in the 85. Out there in the McLaren. Chase Matsko trying to bring that Ford up there into it. Chase Matsko with a slowdown. Chase got to slow down here. I don't see him really doing the slowdown here. But Chase got to watch it. He doesn't get a black flag. Graham Connolly with a slowdown. Graham Connolly did confirm his. Looks like Chase confirmed his, finally. Now we see here Graham Connolly taking that McLaren off-road here for somehow. Chase Matsko crashed. We'll take a look at it here in a moment after we see what happened there. It looks like Graham just had to bring it to a stop there behind everybody. And then ends up off track. See what happened to Matsko. Matsko coming down here into the next corner here, as we see. Bring it to a stop. So Milbrath with the black flag. Milbrath better take it to the pits this lap. They come down here around the hairpin. I guess he's not to the hairpin yet. He's coming up to the hairpin. Nope, he didn't pit yet. Oh, there he goes. Now he's in pit lane. Okay. So he did dump, bring it in to serve that penalty. Brian Scott there out front with Matsko there in second. Mark Nelson here third. Jay Davis here fourth. Matt Mars here fifth. Jody Nielsen up to sixth. Ron Hunter's up to seventh. Milbrath is sitting in the pits at a standstill. Connolly once again with a slowdown. Finally, he's going to jump into the pits. Kate Matsko there in second. Mark Nelson there third. Jay Davis there fourth. We're going to keep an eye on things here. As Connolly's in the pits. Milbrath there on pit road. There comes Nelson. He's sitting third. As they operate down the straightaway. Yeah, see that 654, they're coming through the hairpin at the bottom side of the racetrack. Now here goes Ron Matthews in seventh. Working on down. All right, down here into the next corner they go. And we're watching that 654 there. The drivers keeping it on track the best they can here tonight. There you see Mark Nelson there third. Jay Davis there in fourth. And at 317 for Nameless Racing. Matt Mars back here fifth. And yeah, keep an eye on that scoreboard there to your right. It will come up and tell you if somebody is off track or not. Or if they have a slowdown. If they have a yellow flag beside their name, that is a slowdown flag. that we've discovered here tonight. Milbrat has come back out on track. Graham Connolly still sitting in the pits. Kate Matsko down here into the corner. Down at the bottom of the raceway. Mark Nelson here in third. Jay Davis there fourth. Matt Mars here fifth. Jody Nielsen there in sixth. There we see Ron Matthews in seventh. They go ahead and roar down here through the front stretch, kind of. Here through the dog leg, kind of, if call it that. Jay Davis off track. I brought it to a near stop. But sitting there in fourth. They head on down through here. Great job here tonight by most of these drivers. Let's just be curious and see here. Off tracks tonight. Three by Matsko, two by Mars, one by Nelson, two by Matthews, three by Peters. There's one for Brassington as it just popped up there. So Dan Brassington in that number 29 just getting his first off track here tonight. And there you see the 654 gaining on the 56 of Jody Nielsen. Down here into the next corner off of the hairpin. Jody Nielsen falls back as Ron Matthews gets around. Through the straight. Down here across the line. Rod Matthews hanging on to sixth, but Jody Nielsen is charging back. They dive down here into the next corner. Yeah, looks like Matthews has a slowdown. So he had to slow down. Unfortunately, that made him give up 2 spots. As Nielsen and Brassington got around him. Matt Mars about here in fifth. Jay Davis there in fourth. Matthews off track. He ended up spun around there. He'll get it straight back out, back on track. Graham Connolly has called it enough for tonight. So he'll finish 11th. And at number 71 tonight. Called it back to the hauler and called it done. Tough track here, I will say that. It seems to be a very technical, very difficult track for these drivers to try to navigate. I went ahead and took the FFTV Mustang out before the race here and had issues there with it. So yeah, it definitely not an easy track at all. Jay Davis there in fourth, Matt Mars there in fifth, Jody Nielsen there in seventh. Dan Brassington gets up there to sixth. Brian Scott still hanging on to that lead. going to come down to pit stop. Possibly between Matsko, or between Scott and Matsko, yeah. All right, we see Chase coming on down through here off the corner. Heading into the hairpin. Mark Nelson there third. Davis there fourth. Matt Mars there fifth. Up off the corner, back down through. Coming down towards the stripe is that 85. And we're going down through here off the corner. There you see Jody Nielsen trying to chase down Brassington as Brassington got around him. A little bit of dirt flying as somebody ended up the tire width off track. Ryan Peters here 9th. Robert Beelbrat there in 10th. Brassington out of Woodley, North Carolina. Lewiston, Idaho for Mr. Jody Nielsen. Chase Matsko there second. Mark Nelson there third. Jay Davis there fourth. Matt Morris fifth. Brassington there sixth. Jody Nielsen there seventh. Mark Nelson, Jay Davis, Matt Mars, they're fifth. Brassington, they're sixth. Head on down here through. Matsko and Nelson put down some great times. Brian Scott's a little bit farther out front. But Brian Scott may have messed up the last lap by just a shade. Head on back down here. Through that hairpin goes the 85 of Scott. Chase there second. Nielsen there third. See what their lap times are whenever they come across the line here. Here they come across the stripe. Scott with a 1:36.84. Matsko with a 1:36.73. Nielsen with a 1:36.65. So they're all right there in about the same ballpark of lap times. Davis in that 3:17. When he comes across, he lays down. A 1:38.16 from what I could tell. Matt Mars with a 1:38.18. And Brassington, they're in sixth. Driving at number 29 out of Woodley, North Carolina. There you see Spanish Sport for Brian Scott. Milbrad with another slowdown. See if he pays attention to it this time. There you go. They got it cleared. Down here, off. Here they go. I see that 85 there out front. 26 there, Chase Masco second. Mark Nelson there in third. Chase Masco right there. Down here through, off the corner, making that right-hander for Chase Masco. Making a quick left. Head back down here towards the hairpin. Ryan Peters crashed. Nelson with a black flag. All right, here we'll see what happened here to Peters. Yeah, I ended up just losing it there off the corner. Sends himself around into the wall. And now Nielsen, can't really see anything for Nielsen here. There you go. Nielsen at pit exit. $20 of racing to go. 20 minutes here, drivers. As they head on down here in the next corner. Brian Scott's hoping he can hang on to the lead. Chase Masco really chasing him down. They got a little bit of that wall coming there off of that corner. Chase really hanging it all out there. Nelson's also not too far behind, but he's about 7 seconds behind, where Chase Masco's about 1 3/4 seconds back. So Masco trying to find a way to close in. Scott, it just seemed to be a little smoother on some of the corners, but Masco's slowly closing in, but then he loses it right here. Yeah, we got a lap machine coming there off pit road. That's the 6x4 of Ron Matthews being caught there in front of Chase. Chase got around him. And working through this left-hand turn, then right back right again. Oh, here they go, down here through into the next corner. Jay Davis there in fourth. Nelson there in third. Matsko there second. Scott on the pit road. Anybody else coming? Looks like Chase Matsko will come, so will Mark Nelson. So your top three are coming to pit road. And they all come down there. Scott driving right down through the pits. Now we see there Matsko getting up. Davis comes in. I don't know if Matsko fully wanted to take tires, but he did come in and he is at the exit. Matsko out in the front. Here comes the 85 there of Scott. So Matsko now out front of him after the pit stop. This is going to get interesting here. These two drivers have been really tough on each other all through the race. Scott's just a little quicker through a couple sections of the racetrack. Chase got to try to put the pedal down where he knows he can. Try to put a little gap between him and that McLaren. Come there off the right-hander, or left-hander, coming down here towards the hairpin. Scott giving a little bit of a bump. That ended up shoving the Matsko a little wide. Nelson crashed. Not sure what happened to Nelson. He ended up back here a couple spots. Well, I guess he didn't end up a couple spots back. He's got the lap down machine of Milbrad there behind him. Matsko really hanging on to what he can. As Brian Scott's giving him a good run here. Matt Mars has crashed. Dan Brasington also. And I'm going to get bringing it almost to a complete stop there coming out of the corner. But tossed it. As Ron Matthews off track. Matsko out there in front with Scott chasing him down. Matsko trying to get a little breathing room. You see, Brian Scott's right there behind him. Brian Scott getting right there to a bumper through that hairpin, getting a great turn there. Seems like that McLaren's just a little bit better through that hairpin than what the Mustang is. I bring it down here through the stretch. Being the way that Mustang is, it can take them corners a little bit. Them curbs, as it's got seems a little heavier. Matsko's got to really push here. It seems like he gains a little bit here, but then he loses it. Matsko's trying to figure out what the secrets are to certain areas of this racetrack to help gain them here some breathing room. And you see that McLaren is there. Brian Scott. And Chase is going to make him work for it, that's for sure. off down into the next corner. There you're looking there at the lap machine of Jody Nielsen. If they end up catching him before too long. Chase Matsko out there in front. Brian Scott right there on his bumper as they work there through the hairpin, coming back there through the front side of the track now. Working down here, down the straightaway. You got the 5 working through the final little dogleg thing before the start-finish line. These leaders are now coming up to it. Matsko doing all he can to hang on to the lead. And he's now got about a second gap over top of Scott. So a little bit of breathing room, but not a whole lot. That can be closed in such a hurry. Hey, look at Mark Nelson as he got around the lap machine of Robert Milbrath. Chase Matsko ended up having problems there. We'll see what happened here to Chase. As Chase did have some breathing room, ended up coming down through here. Brought it up there off the corner a little wide and just spun it around. Right in front of Nelson, sorry. Matt Mars crashed. We'll take a quick look at that before we check in with our leader. Coming down to 10 minutes to go. Wobble, Tennessee, the Red Bank Rocket. And coming down here and off track here. Not really seeing anything there that warrants a crash marker. We see Nelson now up there in the second. Matsko there in third. Really putting the pedal down now as he wants to get back up there. Now Brian Scott, he's got to try to lay down his race, not do too much. He's got over a 6-second lead. He's got to pretty much run his race. The others behind him run about the same lap time as him. So he's just got to pay attention and run his race, not get too worried about what's behind him. Just make sure he hits his marks. As Nelson is closing on him a little bit, but I wouldn't say it's anything to really worry about. As Nelson and Matsko come off the chicane here, coming down here into the hairpin. Up off here, off the straightaway. Brian Scott out there in front. Mark Nelson there second. Chase Matsko there third. Davis there fourth. Brasington there in sixth. Ron Matthews there seventh. Ryan Peters eighth. Jody Nielsen there in ninth. Come here off the corner. Jay Davis there in fourth. Matt Mars there in fifth. Brasington there sixth. Ron Matthews there seventh. Under 10 minutes to go. Here Chase Matsko trying to chase down Nelson. Scott kind of on cruise control. Davis sitting for it. Mars sitting back here 5th. Brasington in 6th. Ron Matthews there 7th. We got Ryan Peters in 8th. Jody Nielsen there in 9th. Robert Belbrath in 10th. And here you go, off the corner. Mark Nelson, 2nd. Chase Matsko there, 3rd. Dan Brasington there, 6th. Ron Matthews there, 7th. Brian Peters there, 8th. Hey, there goes Scott. Kind of slowly chasing on Peters. See him come there off the corner. Jay Davis there in 4th. Matt Mars there in 5th. Nelson just trying to hang on there to 2nd. Matsko's chasing him down. He's still got about 2 seconds to get up there to him. Matsko might end up settling for 3rd tonight. And we close in to 5 to go. 5 laps to go here in about 30 seconds. Or not 5 laps, but 5 minutes to go here in about 5 minutes. Or about 30 seconds will be 5 minutes to go. Oh, dang. Tongue-tied at times, I'll tell you. Pierre, South Dakota is the hometown of Mark Nelson, who's currently sitting there in 2nd, keeping an eye on his rearview mirror for that number 26 of Chase Matsko, painted up like a plane, like one of the old warbirds out of World War II. Unfortunately, doesn't quite have the speed that one of them things would have here tonight. Still, nonetheless, 3rd's nothing to really complain about, as he has a slowdown. Gets it taken care of. And now he's back on the way. Nelson there in 2nd. Scott there out front. And there behind him comes Nelson. They're slowly catching Scott, as Matsko has lost ground on Nelson through that slowdown. So that slowdown really messed up Matsko. I don't know if Matsko will get back up there. Now, here comes Davis. Matsko is ahead of Davis by quite a ways. About 30 or about 25 seconds between Matsko and Davis. Whoa, hang on to it there, Milbrath. You don't want to lose it again. Jody Nielsen having issues. He's trying to hang there with Nelson. Four minutes to go for Brian Scott. He's closing in here to the 5 of Ryan Peters. Chase Matsko back here 3rd. Davis here for it. Matt Mars 5th. Ron Matthews here in a 6:54. Sitting in about 7th. Ryan Peters lap down. As Scott got around him. 3 minutes to go. 3 minutes. So what, about a minute and a half, just over a minute and a half lap time 2 more laps to go. Possibly 2 more laps to go. We'll see if Brian Scott comes up here to take the flag. Yeah, 2 more laps to go here. Woodleaf, North Carolina for Dan Brassington. And they head on down through here. I see there, Peter's getting out of the way for for Nelson. Matsko stuck behind 2 lap down cars right now. He's lost time there to second place. Mark Nelson, Brian Scott out front. He comes down there through that last hairpin. Coming up here to the start-finish line. White flag should be out as he comes down across. I don't see a flagman, but yes, it should be 1 to go. Here at Giles. There we got Brian Scott coming there through. Here comes Mark Nelson. Chase Match goes sideways again. Ron Matthews. So Chase Matsko has to really get it started. Ryan Matthews with a black flag. Last lap here. And he gets a black flag. There he ends up off track up into the outside wall of that corner. And Brian Stark comes down. Ron Matthews brought it on the pit lane. Here comes Scott. Bringing it across the line. Nelson there second. Matsko. Still working on coming up here. Jay Davis getting a slowdown here on the last lap. Serves it with 3 more drivers that come across the line. Mars, Brassington, and Matthews. So Mars is across. Brassington's got to come across. He's back here coming in through the final hairpin. And here's Peters. We're looking for Matthews. He's coming around the last hairpin now. All right, here we go. Points should be, or results should be in. And we're looking here at Brian Scott being your winner. Mark Nelson there second. Chase Matsko third. Jay Davis there fourth. Matt Morris fifth. Dan Brassington there sixth. Ron Matthews there seventh. Ryan Peters eighth. Jody Nielsen there in ninth. Robert Milbrath there in 10th. Graham Connolly rounding it out in 11th. Getting it here now. See if we can get with Chase Matsko, our third place finisher. Good evening there, Chase. How's it going?
All right, how about you?
Doing okay. What the heck happened there in the late run?
My headphones unplugged, and I was driving without sound.
Oh.
It was really hard.
I see.
That was my race. If that didn't happen, it was like I couldn't hear anything. It was so bad.
Oh, yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you had the lead, and all of a sudden you looped it around.
Yeah, I looped it again, too, in the last lap.
Yeah, we saw.
Yeah, it was real tough.
Well, I mean, the paint job looked great tonight, running the throwback again, your World War II paints. We looked to see.
You probably run your paint, but I wanted to change it up a little bit today.
Well, we seen if Mars was pulling the same thing as you guys did last night, but see, Mars was back in his mellow yellow machine.
Yeah, he probably won't run a Ford on GT3, so.
Well, probably not, but I didn't know if he was going to run the style of paint like he did last night with you running the World War II. I didn't know if he would be running the other one.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to be doing in ovals, but.
Now, kind of take us through, since we didn't get a chance to talk to you about it last night, this paint scheme that you're running, to me, resembles a little bit of a throw to the Red Tails. Am I right with that or wrong?
Yes, I have a Tuskegee Airman logo on the door on this car, so that's pretty much what it's going after, yeah.
Okay. And what would you call, like last night, for those that were watched last night's Xfinity races, what would you call Matt Mars with that black and white checker on it? Or black and yellow checker? There's
a few. I forget what squadron it was in World War II, but there was a squadron that ran that paint scheme, and that's a pretty iconic one, so that's what it's based off of.
Well, I know it was iconic for both of you guys. I just want to make sure I had them kind of correct. I thought it was towards Tuskegee, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I had to do some more research on what his is about. I forget. I usually know these things, but I forgot this time.
Well, I mean, I thought you would know, considering you were Air Force, but...
Yeah.
But great job tonight, at least holding on for third. I mean, you definitely had that thing up and over the curbs a lot tonight.
Oh, yeah, he kind of had to manhandle the curves around this track.
Well, I think that's one thing we noticed, was this is a tough, tight racetrack.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest ones I've ever driven on. I've never even raced on it in iRacing before today, so...
So it was a little bit of a surprise for you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I used to race it in all the old F1 games because it's an iconic F1 track. So, like, I know the layout. It's just a little different in a car that's not on rails like a F1 car.
It doesn't quite have the downforce that the F1 cars do.
No, it's got a lot of downforce, but not that much.
Yeah, it has downforce, but not the F1 downforce.
No.
Oh, man. But you did a great job out there, and hopefully we'll see you Wednesday night be able to do something in the Gen 4s as well. I mean, you did okay in the Xfinity last night, just unfortunately things didn't quite go the way you needed them to.
Yeah, I took 2 right side tires in that last stop and spun the tires on the restart, and that's what happens, you know.
Well, did you take tires tonight?
Yeah, I took left sides, and I don't think it worked out too well for me. I think it took too long for them to heat back up.
Well, I know Brian Scott and you definitely were given a great show here tonight. They're after the pit stop. You guys were definitely battling hard.
Oh yeah, it was a good battle. It sucks that my headset unplugged because it would have been a real fun with that, and Mark spinning too. Mark spun right out of the pits, and all three of us were all running pretty similar lap times. Would have been a good show, but it's racing.
It is. I mean, things happen, but you did a great job. You got sponsor shout-outs. Anybody you want to thank for third place tonight?
Regal Wrapz, FMA, Ford, Tuskegee Airmen. About it.
Alrighty, well, congrats there on that third place, and we'll see you Wednesday night as we take on the Gen Force.
Sounds good, man. Have a good night.
You too. All right, we're here with our second place finisher, Mark Nelson. How's it going?
Going all right. How are you doing, Adam?
I'm doing okay. What was your thoughts on this tricky track tonight?
Oh, I had a lot of fun. I'm usually not a huge fan of tracks that have walls so close to the racetrack because it really does kind of make you think about how aggressive you're going to come off the corners, and I know that always kind of shies me away from giving my 100%. I definitely was I was holding back most of the race because there was a corner, turn 4, that was really the most deadly. So other than that corner, I had a lot of fun here.
Yeah, I took the FFTV Mustang out there before the broadcast and noticed there was a couple spots that were quite tricky. That if you forgot that the turns were coming up, you were going through the grass.
Yeah, the chicanes especially, you have to make sure that you're ready for them, otherwise you're going to blow past them. I didn't have any issues in those corners for the most part. There was 1 or 2 times where I was kind of daydreaming a little bit, just trying to, I don't know. And
you're not supposed to be daydreaming behind the wheel.
Well, I mean, perfectly honest with you, sometimes when you're going down straightaways and there's nobody 5 seconds in front of you or behind you, you tend to kind of wander off sometimes. So at least I do. My brain is easily bored.
Well, you did a great job keeping second. Did you have any issues with the slowdown areas tonight? I know quite a few drivers got the slowdowns handed to them tonight.
I didn't have a single one. My main issue was I took took right side tires in the pit because usually after they get a lap or 2 on them, they seem to have a little bit better pace than if you don't change them. And I forgot to change my stupid brake bias back to where I was intending it to be, and so I went into a corner and the car just decided to screw me over. So I went from about a second behind the 2 guys in front of me to about 6 seconds, which completely nullified everything that I gained from the good pit entry. So I was pretty frustrated with myself there. And then Chase had to spin out a few laps later, and he was trying to get going and right into my my line, so I had to check up big time, and that's probably what lost me the race, really. Those 2 things to get together, but I probably could have caught Brian if I wouldn't have had to check up there.
Yeah, it probably would have been a tough order, though. I mean, he was very quick tonight.
Yeah, I don't know if he was saving gas or if his tires or if he was just being careful, but I was gaining about half of a second a lap on him there at the end, and I probably lost about 2.5 seconds not T-boning Chase. So, yeah, not sure. Maybe I could have done it. I definitely made my own mistakes that one after the pit stop. I wish I could go back and try that again. I hate it when I lose a race because of something so simple as making sure that your settings are back where you wanted them to be and not being there because you forgot them. That really kicks me.
Yeah, I can see how it can get frustrating. I mean, Chase ran pretty much that whole portion of the race without sound, so I mean...
Yeah, that's pretty frustrating. I've done that before. One of my first races in a league I won without any sound the last few laps, and yeah, it was not fun, but I did it.
Yeah. Chase said his headphones unplugged there, and that's what he contributed to some of his spinouts was not being able to hear what was going on.
No, I get it. It's tough. It stinks, but that was a fun race. Like I said, I wish my mistake I would have not done. Otherwise, it would have been a pretty clean race. I didn't have any incidents up to the pit stop, so I was doing really good, and then I decided to almost throw it all away. Thankfully, the speed in that corner is slow enough where the car didn't really spin. Scared the crap out of Robert, but I was able to get back up to second place, just a little bit behind the leader. So, yeah, all in all, it was a good race, and I think I have a little bit bigger points lead going into next week, which is going to be the last race I can make. So, just trying to build that cushion.
Here, just almost dumped me backward out of it. Damn thing. All right. Well, congrats there on your second place tonight, and we'll see what you have coming into the Gen Force Wednesday night.
All right, let's do it.
All righty.
Thanks.
So that was Mark Nelson, our second place. Now we'll get with Brian Scott, our winner tonight. Good evening, Brian. How's it going?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Well, besides my chair just almost dumping me out of itself right now, I'm doing all right.
Awesome.
I'm sitting there and all, leaning back on the back of it, and all of a sudden something let loose. I don't know, one of the locks or something. Completely.
I'm glad mine's bolted down. I finally upgraded my rig a few months ago, so I don't have to my old office chair press the brake too hard and it starts pushing you backwards. Had to
Oh
get
yeah,
like
that's
a
fun.
ratchet strap out of my truck to come hold it down.
I'm planning on getting on Amazon and they have wheel chocks. I plan on getting myself a set of wheel chocks for it.
Dude, I just grabbed one of my extra ratchet straps out of my truck, just cranked it down to my little wheel stand I had. It worked.
I'm sure it did.
Take it.
I mean, at first, my pedals would slide away from me, so I got that problem fixed. Now it's my chair wants to move away from the pedals.
Yeah, I went from the good old trusty Logitech, like G923, up to like a Sim Magic setup with, the load cell brakes you actually use your legs for, and then I was like, oh crap, I gotta upgrade some stuff now.
Yeah, I went and upgraded mine. I have the Logitech pedals. I inverted them and got the True Brake add-on for it. Boy, does that make a huge bit of difference.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I heard those are pretty good. I mean, just for that, like if you're looking for a quick fix for them. But I was like, you know what? I don't feel like ordering this, having to tear it apart, redo it. I'm just gonna go spend a little money.
Yeah, I knew I was tearing mine apart anyway because I had a bit of a wiring issue I had to fix. And when I tore it apart, I figured, you know what? I'm just going to invert it and put the True Brake on it. We'll call it good. And man, that True Brake, I'll tell you what, it changed the way that brake feels. It's a night and day difference.
No, yeah, all I ever keep hearing when I got into doing this earlier this year, it was like, oh, you got to go to load cells. It makes huge difference. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, it does. Big time.
So, but you did a great job getting that 85 up there into the victory lane tonight. Kind of take us through. Were you kind of just feathering the throttles there kind of towards the end since you knew you had so much gap to play with?
Yeah, I was trying to take it easy because I usually have this thing. Usually, if I'm ever get ahead, it's like I'm my own worst enemy, And I was like, you know what? I got a pretty decent gap. I had a couple back markers back there to hold them up, but they ended up getting by them, and I think I ended up with like 2.5 seconds or so. I was like, that's plenty. I knew he could catch up if he had a few more laps, but I was trying to just take it easy a little bit. Tires were starting to get a little squishier.
Yeah, you did a great job there and looked great because those two guys that were behind you, they're tough competitors here in the GT3s.
And I kept looking at my relative and seeing them creeping up and creeping up and creeping up, and and then Mark, he's back there. Oh, he's got the fastest lap. And, car number 3, fastest lap. I'm like, golly, man, you got to quit that. But yeah, that was fun. And then he had a couple little goofs and stuff like that, and just some bad entries, bad exits, and Chase finally caught up to me, and then I realized I need a pit, and then I never even practiced that, so I had no idea where to stop. and I did not want to drive through from blasting through the pits too hot. So he ended up catching up and got in front of me, and I'm like, ah. But then he got a little bit too hot coming on, what was that, turn 2, and I was just lucky. I was far enough behind him where I didn't catch him and get caught up in it.
I
So
might
I'm
have
like,
a
"Ugh."
little bit of insight for that, where you're saying about him being a little too hot going in that corner. He couldn't hear what was going on.
Yeah, that's what he said. So yeah, if you can't, we were talking about it earlier, and he said, yeah, I couldn't hear. And if you can't hear your tires, you don't know when they're about to give. And in that Mustang, it just a hair too much and it's gone. And once you lose the rear in that thing, and especially low speed like that, you're not catching it. I race the Mustang every now and then. It's actually the other car run besides McLaren. It's just something about the McLaren. I just always end up coming back to it. It's been one of my favorites.
I've always been told that the Mustang's the hardest to drive, but and that's the one I go for. It's like, yeah, I don't go to the easy stuff, that's for sure.
Well, the McLaren, I like it because it's got better visibility, and it's a little bit more pointy in the front end, so I like that a lot. But I mean, even the McLaren on the throttle, you got to be careful with it. It's a little bit better with this new tire model. It's not as sketchy on exit, but before, a lot of times, if you ever had it in first gear, you better watch out. Because I mean, it's the same with the Mustang. When it snaps, it's gone.
Did you have, with a couple of them hairpins on this track tonight, did you have it down in first, or were you able to take them in second?
No, on the hairpin, you got to put it down in first for that. And I tried at one point in practice trying to just dump it right into second coming out of it, and it wasn't as fast. So you just had to hold on to it first and hope you didn't lose it. It gets kind of squirrely sometimes, but luckily I kept it together. I didn't have any major mistakes today, so that was kind of nice.
Yeah, you didn't have anything major, and you come out and put a great time in here, and looked like you guys were having a blast out there, especially coming out of the pits whenever you were trying to chase down Chase.
Yeah, that I was looking forward to that. I hate it when you win a battle on a big goof like that, because I was eyeing him up. I was a little bit faster and in a couple little turns, and I was trying to line me up a game plan and just stay close enough to eventually make a move, probably in like maybe that hairpin or something like that, or maybe he went through, I think like it was like the third chicane. He just had trouble with that and got a couple slowdowns through there. I think that's when I passed him the first time. He went through that, and that's when I ended up with a pretty decent gap until we got close to pit time. But then he caught back up and got ahead of me.
You guys did great, and you had a great job there. You have sponsors. Shout out to anybody you want to thank for getting a great run here tonight to get you that victory.
I'd just like to thank God for everything He's done for me, and my wife for not killing me for adding another race day to my already too much week. So about to hop out of here and probably go throw on a movie and fall asleep with her. But yeah, that and Jed, he invited me over to this league. It's been a blast. These guys are pretty chill, laid back. It's been fun to race with them. Got some pretty quick guys in here, and it's just good racing. Not too much stupidity or people going crazy over mistakes or stuff like that. So it's been pretty nice. I like it.
No, a lot of times it seems that mistakes are self-inflicted.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. That was nice. I think I tapped Chase going into that hairpin one time, but I made sure I gave him a little spot back. I don't like taking anything like that. It was just a little bump. I don't think it messed him up too bad, but.
No, I don't think it messed him up too bad. Might have sent him just a tad wide in the corner, but it happens.
Yeah, it was just a little dink, a little love tap. Let him know maybe you ought to slow down a little later next time. You got it.
Yeah, but you did great here tonight, and hopefully we'll see. Are you running any other?
Thank you, man.
Are you running any other Freedom Motorsport Alliance races?
No, they do a lot of oval stuff, and I've tried it, and I'm just not good at it. I need a bigger wheel. All I got is like a GT wheel set up, and every time I've tried to race oval for any length of time with this little tiny wheel, it'd wear your ass out. So I'm
I can hear you. That's all pretty much all I do is I run dirt oval and as you know, oval and dirt road is pretty much what I run. I can't figure this road stuff out to really yet.
Oh, I love the road stuff. It's a blast. I have been tempted to get in some dirt oval. It just looks like so much fun. There's a dirt track about maybe half a mile from my house, and I can hear them every Saturday night running. And it's just they're awesome, man.
Alrighty.
I mean, it's just so wild, especially like those little, those sprint cars.
Yeah. Well, you did a great job. You better go find that movie to watch to keep things peaceful there at home for allowing you to get that victory tonight.
Yeah, I'll have to go. She'll be happy about that. She's always glad if I win something or place decent. Like if you're gonna do it, you might as well do it good.
That's right. You have yourself a great night there, Brian.
All right, you too, man. You take it easy. See you next week.
See you next week. Brian Scott, our victory winner here tonight. Thank you all for coming out to watch. Hopefully everybody had a great time. I know these drivers did. We'll see you Wednesday night as we take on the Gen 4s here at Freedom Motorsport Alliance. Thank you all for watching. Have a great, great night.